The opening round of the 1994 TVR Tuscan Challenge takes place here at Mallory Park, the tight Leicestershire circuit of 1.35 miles in length. A very big crowd is on hand to watch the TVRs, one of BBM's 9 core championships, and its reigning champion Mark Hales, who lines up on the front row of the grid. Alongside him on the front row is the Cheshire driver Chris Maris with the Trinity Motors car, while on the inside of row 2 is 1992 champion Colin Blower. Alongside him is journalist Mark Hughes in the car entered by Nigel Mansell Sports Cars. On the outside of the 5th row of the grid is number 3 Steve Cole, the 1991 TVR champion. Complete with onboard camera, Cole will be looking to charge his way up through the field. With near blizzard conditions in practice, the grid has been decided by ballot. Ready then for the start of this 12-lap race, the opening round of the 1994 TVR Tuscan Challenge. Away they go. Good start by Mark Hales. Plenty of jockey for position further back. On board with Cole. Cars everywhere. Carnage at the start of the race. Steve Cole heads off towards the barrier. John Lyon's yellow car on the right-hand side of him. 26 there facing the wrong way. That's Simon Wayne. So we've got 3 cars nearly in the pit lane and 1 off on the grass as well. Chris Maris then in the lead from Mark Hales as they come into the S's for the first time. They turn right and then left. It's Colin Blower in 3rd place. Martin Kraft is 4th. Mark Hughes 5th. The circuit wet but drying as they come up to the hairpin for the first time. Hales on the outside of Maris. A very short lap, just 1.35 miles, and they're about to come through the Devil's Elbow up over the line, and they'll see those wrecked cars by the side of the road, and there's a real wreck. That's TVR chairman Peter Wheeler with a very badly damaged car limping round to the pits. Over the line, look at the debris on the road there as they go through. Also, by the side of the road was number 40, the car of Martin Stewart. Everybody else, though, safely through. Colin Blower had a big look on the inside of Mark Hales there, got very crossed up indeed. Hangs on to it, but he's dropped back a little bit. Chris Maris then, turning into the S's. In 2nd place, Hales. 3rd, Blower. They're dropping back a little bit. Red flags out. You can see the marshals waving the red flags there to stop the race. Cars littering the circuit. Lots of debris over the road at the start line as well. So out come the red flags to stop the race. Chris Maris puts his hand up to slow the field down. But this is what happened. Look in the middle of the pack. You're about to see cars spin in all directions. Round goes Peter Wheeler in the silver car. Simon Wayne cuts across. John Lyon and Steve Cole go into the pits in avoidance. And those 2 cars are very badly damaged indeed. And now the marshals have got to try and separate them. John Lyon's yellow car is going nowhere. That's got a broken steering arm. Steve Cole's pink and blue car is pushed back to the grid. Somebody else in trouble is Mark Hughes. He has a punctured radiator. Water pouring out of the bottom of that car, so he won't be taking part in the restart. So a much smaller field. Now there is Steve Cole, a very bemused Steve Cole, having had a very fraught opening lap. Ready then for the restart of this opening round of the championship. Away they go. Good start by Mark Hales, bad start by Chris Maris, and there's someone left on the line. That's Bob Sands, and it looks as though something's broken on that car. He's going no further. Down to Gerrard's then, for the first time. Mark Hales from Colin Blower from Chris Maris. That's the 1, 2, 3. 4th and 5th, John Kent in the yellow car. And there's Steve Cole rejoining from the pit lane. Up through the gears, onto the circuit, and now he's got to try and fight his way through the field. Coming into the S's for the first time, Hales versus Blower. Hales, who won the championship in 1993, Blower, who won it in 1992, and they've got Chris Maris there right on the tail. Splashing their way up to the hairpin for the first time. Blower having a look on the inside. Maris tries to go the long way right round the outside of him. That doesn't work. He's going to have to tuck into 3rd place, or is he? He's challenging on the inside for the Devil's Elbow. The pair of them dive into the left-hander side by side, but Blower just manages to force his way through on the outside and keep that 2nd place. On board now with Steve Cole. He's caught up with the rest of the field. He's now got to try and move his way through to get past Jean-Francois Ville, the ex-hill climber from France. And now Cole blasts his way down towards Gerrard's. Onto the step straight. Hales, Blower, Maris, Kent, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're pulling away from 5th place man Mark Goddard. Blower there looks on the inside of Hales as they come through the S's. The cars sporting little spoilers at the back of the cars for the first time in 1994. Here they come then, up to the hairpin. Once again, Blower sits on the inside of the circuit. Maris tries the long way round on the outside. He runs wide once again. He stays on the inside line for the Devil's Elbow. Is he going to be able to brave it out? No, he's not. Blower shuts the door, and as they battle for 2nd position, it allows Mark Hales to pull away up front. Over the line then. Mark Hales, the reigning champion, the bearded journalist, in the lead from Colin Blower, who's been racing TVRs and Porsches for many, many years. 3rd place, the vastly experienced Chris Maris, and he's being caught now by John Kent, and the leaders are closing right up, look. Onto the straight. Mark Hales keeps the car in the middle of the road, and Maris is in trouble. Chris Maris, the wheels coming off the car. He's most definitely out of the race. Something must have broken, perhaps the stub axle's gone, but Chris Maris is out of the race for sure. Up to the hairpin then, we have a new race leader. It's Colin Blower, who's found a way past Mark Hales. John Kent has latched onto the tail of the leading pair, as has Mark Goddard onto the tail of Kent. The top four then, nose to tail, as they come through the Devil's Elbow and then up across the start and finish line. Blower, then Hales, then Kent, then single-seater ace Mark Goddard, and this is a very exciting opener to the TVR Tuscan Championship season. Turning through Gerrards then, Colin Blower now trying to pull away from Mark Hales, who will not be happy about second position. He'll want to try and get that lead back if at all possible. Here they come, along step straight. John Kent there in third place, trying to close up to Mark Hales, trying to wrest second place away from him. Into the S's they come. Now Blower, with a good 3 or 4 cars length now between himself and second place man Mark Hales, can try and consolidate that lead, and Steve Cole is still charging up through the field. Out of Gerrards now, along the step straight, one more car ahead of him, noses up alongside, looks for a way past. Into the S's, Steve Cole then heading further up through the field in Fab 1. Meantime, the leaders are coming down into Gerrards. Blower and Hales, and they're closing up once again. Vastly experienced Mark Hales putting in a mid-race burst now to try and latch back onto the tail of the race leader Colin Blower, and it's working. One slower car ahead, that's Mick Schofield. They've got a lap. Blower tries the inside line, Hales tries the outside. Now, are they going to fall foul of the back marker? Schofield looks in his mirrors, pulls well to the side of the circuit, allows them through. Out of the S's. Now the run up towards Shaw's hairpin. The car of Blower gets a little bit sideways on the wet part of the circuit. Hales challenges on the outside. They swing through the second gear hairpin, back on the power, accelerating now towards the Devil's Elbow, but still Colin Blower, by dint of making his car as wide as possible, is hanging onto the lead. Hales looks on the inside though, as they come through the Devil's Elbow and side by side over the line. Third is still Kent, and here is Martin Kraus battling with Steve Cole. They are now fourth and fifth. Kraus misses a gear coming out of the elbow. Steve Cole surges up alongside him, and having started from the pit lane, Steve Cole is now fourth. For the final time, down the step straight come the leaders. The last time into the S's, Colin Blower versus Mark Hales. A really cracking start to the season, but who's going to win it? 2 back markers ahead of them. Up to the hairpin they come. The first one they've got to try and find a way past is John McQuilkin, and Martin Stewart's in there as well. Into the hairpin. Hales trying to find a way past Blower. He runs out wide, nearly clips McQuilkin there. He's had to back off, and that allows Colin Blower a little bit more breathing space as they come up to the line, and Colin Blower, the local man from Hinckley in Leicester, takes victory in this, the opening round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge of 1994. Mark Hales finishes second and takes a new lap record at over 102 miles an hour. John Kent finishes third, while Cole, Crass and Cooper finish the top 6. Welcome back to International Motorsports, as we head now to Oulton Park for the second round of the 1994 TVR Tuscan Challenge. Colin Blower and local man Chris Maris on the front row as we get ready for the start. Looking back then from Maris's car, looking forward from Bob Sands' machine. Sands lines up on the third row of the grid. It's going to be a 12-lap race. The lights go green. It's action at Oulton. On board with Sands, trying to fight his way through the traffic, and it's Colin Blower who leads as they go into Old Hall for the first time, with Chris Maris on the outside of him. 24 goes through, John Lyon on the outside of TVR chairman Peter Wheeler. Down to Cascades for the first time. It's Blower first, Maris second, Steve Cole third. Someone's off. Wow, into the field goes Martin Kraus. Drama at Cascades on lap 1. Martin Kraus goes off into the field, and Colin Blower and Chris Maris lead at Island Bend. They're side by side. On board now with Mark Hales, the reigning champion. Someone locks up ahead there. Could have been Mark Goddard, but they swing through Shuttle's corner for the first time, and now they accelerate towards Fulston's. Sands and Hales, nose to tail. Zap, straight past Mark Goddard, the former single-seater driver, and now into Fulston's comes Bob Sands. Looking back though from the race leader's car, Chris Maris, the driver, over hilltop. Now he dives down to Knickerbrook. Steve Cole there, looking for a way past Blower. He tries the inside. Now he tucks back in. Colin Blower being very defensive indeed. In fourth is Sands, fifth Hales, sixth is John Lyon, and down to seventh is Mark Goddard. Up Clay Hill comes the race leader, Chris Maris, a former instructor here at Oulton Park. He knows his way round extremely well. Through Druid, double apex right-hander, a very awkward corner to get right. Mark Hughes there in the red car, challenging on the inside. And look at Blower, he's closing right up to the tail of Maris. Here they come, down to Lodge. Chris Maris on the inside, Colin Blower on the outside, side by side, right the way through Lodge. Up Dear Leap, looking back again from Maris's car. Blower on the inside at Dear Leap. He still can't quite get past. Steve Cole's there in third place.
Blower's car virtually hidden by the leader, Chris Maris, as they went down into Old Hall. Bob Sands, he's fourth, and he's closing on the top three. Yellow flag out there at Cascades. Steve Cole's seen it. Now you need both hands to get through Cascades itself. Blower goes back through on the inside. Great racing here at Oulton Park. And there's John Lyon, number 24, in 6th place. Out of Cascades, along Lakeside Straight into Island Bend. The top three closing up on one another once again. And here's Bob Sands in 4th place. Down through the gears, into Shell. In comes the power, he accelerates away from Shell, now towards Fulston's. He's got Mark Hales, the reigning champion, very close indeed behind him. Into Fulston's now, left, then right, then left again. Maris, Blower, Cole, the top three, virtually nose to tail now as they come over hilltop. Now remember, a lap ago, Cole challenged on the inside of Blower. He's doing it again here, down to Knickerbrook. They touch, Cole's on the grass, he's locked up. Crunch into the side of Chris Maris. He spins, Blower goes up the escape road, Cole's on the grass, and this man, Bob Sands, leads now up Clay Hill, under the bridge. What an amazing race. Cars rejoin, well, two of them do. Colin Blower stranded on the escape road with a very damaged car. Bob Sands leads, Mark Hales is now second, up into third is John Lyon, and that really has now turned the race upside down. Coming down to Lodge, Bob Sands in the lead. Locks up though, Mark Hales, the reigning champion, still there in second place. Third, John Lyon in the yellow Tuscan, out of Lodge, up Deer Leap. A replay from Bob Sands' car. You can see the smoke pouring off the tyres of those ahead who've locked up. They annihilate one another. Sands goes through into the lead. Now look at Cole on the inside. He makes contact with Blower. That knocks Steve Cole's car onto the grass. He's all locked up. He's got nowhere to go. Maris turns in and zonk. They all meet in the middle. 3 into 1 doesn't go. Blower is out of the race. Chris Maris drops right to the tail end of the field, and Steve Cole continues. A replay from Maris's car. You can see Cole and Blower making contact, and there's the impact. Round goes Chris Maris, the innocent victim of all of that. He led, he turned in, and he got a big clout in the side. Now, here are the leaders, nose to tail, Bob Sands versus Mark Hales. One slower car ahead of them to be lapped as they turn through Fulston's. That's John Kent out of the race. Now, Kent started 23rd on the grid. He needed a new engine after practice. He got as high as 4th, but now on lap 7, he is out. So bitter luck indeed for John Kent, but the leaders now pulling away all the time from the rest of the field, despite the fact they're together. Sands and Hales, here they come, down into Lodge Corner. Mark Hales, reigning champion, waiting perhaps for Sands to make a mistake. Certainly it doesn't look as though he's going to find a way past him any other way. Out of Lodge, up Deer Leap, and then they flash past the pits. Motoring journalist Mark Hales starting to close a little bit as they come onto the braking area. Sands gets it sideways, Sands spins. Round goes Bob Sands on the grass, whoops, he's off again. These are very powerful cars. They're difficult to control at the best of times, and when you're skidding off on the grass, it makes the job even harder. So Bob Sands rejoins in second place. We're on board though with Chris Maris. He's had to pit for a new tyre. This is Knickerbrook, got it sideways, whoops, he's off again. Lots of tar smoke as he tries to rejoin. Chris Maris returns to the circuit, despite using a bit of the grass, and sets off again. And the tar smoke is still settling at Knickerbrook. A replay of Bob Sands' spin into Old Hall, hard on the brakes, round goes the back of the car, and he spins off onto the grass. He's still second, but Mark Hughes is right behind him. He's challenging at Old Hall. Through on the inside goes Mark Hughes, but he's lost it. Round he goes. Bob Sands just misses him. That was very close indeed. Untroubled by all these dramas, Mark Hales comes into Lodge Corner for the final time. He really has profited from the mistakes of others, but perhaps that's what it's all about. Here he comes, out of Deer Leap, the checkered flag is at the ready. Mark Hales wins round 2 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge here at Oulton Park. Second and third, nose to tail as they come into Lodge. It's Bob Sands with Graham Nash, the Coventry driver, right on his tail. Nash, the former drag bike racer, is looking for second as they come up Deer Leap. Bob Sands in the blue car, Nash in the white and red one. Here they come, up to the flag, and Bob Sands just takes second from Graham Nash. But victory goes to Mark Hales, a man who's definitely a TVR fan. Well, staying here at Castle Combe, we're ready now for the third round of this year's TVR Tuscan Challenge, with series returnee Ian Flux there on pole position. Flux out for the first time this year with reigning champion Mark Hales in a newly re-liveried car on the middle of the front row. And completing row 1 of the grid is the Hinckley garage owner Colin Blower. Remember, he won the opening round at Mallory and then crashed out at the second race at Oulton Park, so he is eager to do well here. As we get ready for the start of this 12-lap race here at Castle Combe, We're on board with John Kent as the lights flash to green and away they go. Heading up towards Quarry for the first time. John Kent trying to work his way through the field after a very lowly grid position by his standards. But up front it's Mark Hales who leads, but only just from Colin Blower. Turning through Quarry then for the first time, this enormous field all pouring through, and look at the way Kent is fighting away behind the wheel. He's lost a place, he's lost 2 places. Kent, who retired at Oulton Park, desperately trying to work his way through to the lead here, and it's Hales from Blower, first and second. Ian Flux is third, and in fourth position is John Lyon. Number 2 goes through, Mark Goddard, the ex-single-seater champion. Hales then trying to break away up front, but Colin Blower has his mirrors absolutely full of third place man Ian Flux. Bob Sands, number 7, runs a little bit wide. 55, the journalist Mark Hughes goes through ahead of Chris Maris. Down towards Camp. Hales in the lead, Blower there second, and in third is Ian Flux. These 3 very competent drivers running nose to tail. We're on board with John Kent. Look at the way he soars away behind the wheel. A wave to acknowledge that he got through there. Somehow, across the line he goes. Now, there are the leaders. John Lyon dropping back by a length or so in fourth place, and Colin Blower looks on the inside to try and get past Hales. He couldn't do it. Flux has a look on the outside and then tucks back in as they come through the corner. Ian Flux really the mover in this little pack now. He's right there behind Blower, and Blower once again challenges as they come up toward Old Paddock. Blower trying to get past Hales. Very bumpy circuit, Castle Combe. You can see in particular Colin Blower's car bouncing around. Flux right with him as this man, Mark Hales, continues to lead. Look back, Blower still second, Flux still third, and John Lyon well clear of everybody else, but not quite able to keep up on pace with Ian Flux at the moment. They're heading down once again towards Camp. This could be Flux's chance. Look at him go for it on the inside, but no, he has to tuck back in. The Team Central TVR swings through in third place, and Colin Blower driving very defensively to keep Flux at bay. Hales is in trouble. Mark Hales going off. Mark Hales out of the race. He clangs into the barrier. Well, disaster for Mark Hales, a very comfortable leader, and he pulls off out of the race. So that means that Colin Blower is in the lead. In second now is Ian Flux, and a dejected Mark Hales walks away. Something broken at the front of the car, and he is out. The 2 leaders, though, pressing on all the time with Blower. Headlights ablaze now, just ahead of Ian Flux. He tries on the inside, and through he goes. Into the lead goes Ian Flux, but Colin Blower fights back. The 2 of them side by side all the way around the corner, and Colin Blower goes back into the lead. Down the fast straight then, they're heading towards Camp Corner, and Blower just manages to go through. They lap Nick Harrison there, who pulls to one side. The order, Blower, Flux and Lyon. Coming across the line, a brief look at the pit signals, and Blower now trying to stay in the middle of the road and deny Ian Flux any chance of going round him on the outside or the inside. Up towards Quarry once again. Again Flux tries the outside. A wide entrance, hoping for a tight exit. Very close indeed, right behind Blower. And look at the way that Colin has to defend now. Hugging the inside as they come up the straight towards Old Paddock. This is a fantastic race. Blower leads, but only just. Ian Flux has led for a corner, and he wants to lead for a good deal more. Blower's got it sideways. Round he goes. Ian Flux stood on everything to avoid him. They may have made contact, but I think Blower did that all on his own. He spins out of the lead. Flux now is the new race leader, but because he had to brake, John Lyon has got a good deal closer to him. This is cracking stuff here at Castle Combe. Ian Flux is the race leader, John Lyon is second, and Colin Blower is third. Far from happy. They're coming into camp then for the final time. Flux versus Lyon, the checkered flag is at the ready, and Ian Flux crosses the line to win the 3rd round of the TVR Tuscan Challenge. He is delighted with that. John Lyon finishes just 0.3 of a second behind him. Colin Blower comes across the line in 3rd place, with Mark Goddard finishing 4th. A delighted Flux then wins here, his first outing of the season, and this is how it all happened. Into Old Paddock, Blower's car bouncing around, gets sideways. Look at Flux brake. Blower just spins out of his way, so Ian Flux takes over the lead, and Colin Blower came home to finish in 3rd place. He wasn't the only man to spin, as we look at Martin Cross trying to avoid a spinning Peter Wheeler, who recorded his 3rd non-finish of the year. So Ian Flux, the winner then, 0.3 of a second ahead of John Lyon, with Colin Blower 3rd. Mark Goddard was 4th ahead of John Kent and Chris Maris, and Mark Hales leads the championship by 4 points from Blower. First this week,
to Brands Hatch in Kent for round 4 of the TVR Tuscan Challenge, a series that is, as ever, proving to be very exciting indeed. Wins so far have gone to Mark Hales, Ian Flux and Colin Blower, and those 3 drivers are expected to be the class of the field here on the full Grand Prix circuit. Ian Flux it is who lines up on pole position with the Team Central Tuscan, the man who won the most recent race at Castle Combe, has Mark Hales, the reigning champion, alongside him on row 1. And Hales, remember, won round 2 of the series at Oulton Park in April. On the second row of the grid is Anthony Reid, out in a Tuscan for the first time. He's in number 6, the former Tim Harvey car, with Colin Blower lining up alongside him, Blower who won at Mallory. We're on board with the Cheshire driver Chris Marris as we wait for the green lights to come on, the engine notes rise and away they go. A very good start from pole position man Ian Flux, with Mark Hales now being out-dragged by both Colin Blower and Anthony Reid as they go down to paddock for the first time. Simon Wayne's newly reliveried car goes around the outside of journalist Mark Hughes, and we're on board now with Chris Marris chasing after John Kent as Anthony Reid leads at Druids. It's Ian Flux in second place, third and fourth are side by side, Mark Hales and Ian Flux. On board again with Marris as he comes through Graham Hill Bend, looking for a way past John Kent, who's just a little bit wider than Marris there, but then comes across and defends that 5th place as they head into Surtees. Through the left-hander then, it's Reid from Flux, first and second. On board with Chris Marris, dropping back a length or 2 from John Kent as they go onto the Grand Prix loop of the circuit. And here come the leaders, Anthony Reid's black Tuscan in the lead, with Ian Flux looking for a way past him. It's Mark Hales